Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Myrna at Country Stitches in Winfield, Alberta. We're a little late coming to you this morning. Obviously, I had too much turkey on the weekend. I'm just going to find us on, there we are. That popped up real quick this morning. So this morning we're going to talk about squaring your fabrics, wide backs, the fabrics that you're going to use for piecing, etc. Especially wide backs, because it's important when we take our quilts to the long arm that our backings are squared up. And it's also important when you're cutting your piecing that your fabric is squared up, because you can end up with some wonky blocks if you're not squared up. So we've cut a half a meter of rickrack just to show you how you know when it came off the bolt, if it is squared up and if it is not. And we're going to kind of walk you through that. Everybody knows what a selvage is, of course. And your selvage on your material is probably one of your straighter pieces, because that's what they run through the machine. And so when you look at your selvage, sometimes you'll notice that there's little needle marks through it. And that's because it runs through the machine, and they like to keep that straight so that their design is printed properly. So this piece of rickrack is on our $10 a meter rack, and you can buy it for $10 a meter when you come in the store. So if we hold this up, and I match up my selvages on this edge, and I'm hoping you can see it with the rickrack. Hopefully you can see that on the bottom. Lauren, can you just point out where it's not really square, where the bubbles are in the front? There's a bubble. So you can kind of see that it's not laying against each other really well, because there's a bubble there. So sometimes what you have to do is you have to take your selvage and move it right or left until it lines up. Because when it comes off the bolt, it's stretched when they wrap it sometimes. And sometimes you'll get one where your selvage is not matching. Sometimes it's a little lower on your width and a little wonky. So you just want to really move that selvage back and forth, and you'll know whether you have it going the right way, because you'll see that you get a twist almost in that fabric. You see that, Rita? Mm-hmm. So you just want to move the selvages back and forth until you get all your little twists and grooves out of it. And that, I think, looks, and give it a shake, looks pretty good there. And this is, like I said, very important for wide backs. So if this would have been cut at the store, excuse me, you'll see we always try and give you an inch or so extra, because we want you to square up your fabric before you start piecing. So once you got your selvages squared up and your fabric kind of squared up, give that an iron and a good press so that your wrinkles and everything are out. And you'll see that on this end here, once we squared it up, when it came off the bolt, we have quite a difference in our lengths there. So then what we would do, I'm going to turn this so the selvage is closest to me, is you would line up your ruler. Like I said, your selvage is almost always your squarest point on your fabric. And I like to line mine up on my board, just because I can kind of get a feel for where I'm laying and how it's squaring up. And you would line your ruler up with your smallest top piece of fabric against your ruler, and then just line it up against the line and along your selvage. Like keep a line along your selvage on your ruler, because this is going to be square here, and then once we cut here, it will be square there as well. And I'm going to give that a cut, and our fabric is now square, and you're able to start cutting. And you know, once you're manipulating your fabric when you're cutting, sometimes you have to go back and square your edge up before you continue your cutting. But this is going to get you a nice straight square piece. Sometimes when you just take it off the bolt and you don't square it, some people will use the fold line, but if you're not square and you cut a piece out of a strip and you put it into a quilt, it will twist a little bit in your quilt because your grains of your fabric aren't laying properly. So that is how we square up the fabric. If you had a wide back, sometimes you need to have two people to help you because of course the wide backs can be very large, and you would do the method the same way. We're going to pretend that this is the wide back, and Lorna's going to help me. So if this was the wide back, and we're going to open it right up for you, because usually it's about that big. So we would have it so that it was laying nice and straight, there's no bubbles, and we would bring up that bottom fold, and we would again make sure that we've got that laying or hanging nice and straight. If that bottom fold wasn't, then again you would just adjust this would be your fold against your selvage so that it is laying nice and straight. And then you could bring up that bottom again to your selvage, make it manageable so that you can do one really good cut on your board. Take that to your sewing or your cutting board, laying it out again, and now we've got your 4 or 6 or 8 pieces folds, and again you would just line that up really good and square that up for your long armor. They will appreciate it because when they put it on the machine, it is going to be a nice and square, and your backing will be centered with your top, and you would do both sides. And you can see that I've just caught this top edge here so that everything underneath is going to be square. And if I bring this back, you'll notice that everything is square to itself. And that's going to work for you a little bit better. So that's how we square up the fabric when we're doing piecing and wide backing. And it's a good helpful tip. Lots of people have asked us how we square material, so we thought that we would bring that to you today. So that's kind of our tutorial this morning. It's short and sweet, kind of like the weekend was for some of us, and some of us, I hope we had a little longer one. The leaves are turning and they're pretty nice out. We're supposed to get snow here in Winfield today, which is not a nice thing, but something that is inevitable. So, you know, it was a weekend to be thankful. I'm thankful for my family and thankful for every one of you that support us at Country Stitches here in Winfield, whether it's in the store or ordering online or just watching our videos here. I usually give you guys a quote. Today, I'm going to give you a challenge. Think of those that you haven't seen for a while, that you're very thankful for, that have done something in your life that has you know, empowered you or has lifted you up. And just, you know what, we always get bills in the mail. Send them a thank you card or a thinking of you card. Make their day, because when they go to the mail on Friday or next week and they pick up that card, you know, we don't get good things in the mail anymore, or hardly any anyway. It's always nice to get a handwritten note or a handwritten thank you or thinking of you. And you don't know whose lives you may uplift. So be thankful for those that are around you, hug those that are close to you, send virtual hugs to those that are not, and let's be thankful for the family and friends that we have around us that keep us going day to day. And that is everything today, so that's Mornings with Myrna out.